You ever watch those baking shorts on YouTube and think, wow, that looks easy? Yeah, me too. Every time I see a flawless cake flip, I convince myself that I've totally got this. So I had a party to go to, and I needed a gorgeous gingerbread bundt cake. Not just any cake. This one had to be perfect, because it was for a special occasion, and failure was not an option. I found a new greasing method online, thought I had it all figured out, and, well, things didn't quite go as planned. It started as a promising experiment, but quickly turned into a full-blown baking saga. Let's dive into this baking adventure, aka my bundt cake disaster. As always, I started with preparing the batter for my bundt cake. And in case you're wondering what masterpiece I was baking, it was a gingerbread bundt cake with caramel filling. Sounds delicious, right? I'll drop the recipe link below so you can try it too. I saw the super fancy greasing method online and thought, why not give it a shot? Normally, I stick to my tried and true method, vegetable shortening and cocoa powder, since I was making a dark cake. But this time, I decided to get fancy. I had seen a slick-looking short on YouTube that made it seem effortless, so I figured, what could go wrong? Famous last words, right? I melted everything together, stirred until it was silky smooth, and felt like I was crafting some kind of magical baking potion. Then, with the precision of an artist, I took my silicone brush and coated every inch of my bundt pan like I was painting the Mona Lisa, because obviously I was about to bake a masterpiece. It looked flawless. The pan was evenly coated, the shine was promising, and I had convinced myself I had just unlocked the secret to bundt cake perfection. I confidently poured in my gingerbread cake batter, popped it into the oven, and started daydreaming about all the compliments I'd be raking in at the party. Little did I know, my cake had other plans, and let's just say, they did not involve coming out of that pan in one piece. tell you a little story about my bundt cake journey. It didn't start with a beautifully golden, perfectly released, moist, and delicious masterpiece. Nope, it started with failure. Lots of it. The first few times, I was full of confidence. How hard can it be? I thought. Spoiler alert, very. The cakes either stuck to the pan like they had signed a lifetime contract, crumbled into sad little piles, or turned out so dry that even a gallon of coffee couldn't save them. But did I give up? Instead, I became a one-person bundt cake factory, cranking out batch after batch, determined to get it right. And my family and friends? Well, let's just say they had no choice but to eat my disasters. For weeks, they were like force-fed bundt cake. Some underbaked, some overbaked, and a few that could probably be classified as modern art. I could see the fear in their eyes every time I said, "Hey, I baked another one." But after all that trial and error, I finally cracked the code. I figured out the tricks to getting a perfect bundt cake every single time. And lucky for you, I'm here to share everything I learned so you don't have to put your friends and family through the same sweet torture. So let's do this. No stuck cakes, no dry disasters, just perfect bundt cakes from now on. Once the cake was done baking, I let it rest for 10 minutes, just like the experts say, flipped it over, and waited for that beautiful, gravity-assisted cake release. Everything seemed totally normal, the kind of smooth process you see in those satisfying baking videos. No warning signs, no gut feeling that disaster was lurking. Just me standing there, fully expecting my perfectly baked bundt to glide right out of the pan like a dream. Spoiler alert, that did not happen. Nothing. Okay, no biggie. Maybe it just needed a little nudge. I gave the pan a few gentle taps, then ran a silicone spatula around the edges, hoping to loosen things up. Feeling optimistic, I gave it a little shake, expecting the cake to slide out effortlessly, like in all those picture-perfect baking videos. Nope, still nothing. At this point, I was starting to feel personally attacked by my own cake. Still nothing. I started questioning my entire existence. Did I grease it enough? Did I use the wrong ingredients? Did the baking gods curse me? Should I just rebrand this as an abstract cake sculpture? Then I remembered another YouTube hack. If a bundt cake refuses to come out, just set the pan in a warm water bath for a few minutes. Supposedly, the heat helps loosen up whatever's clinging onto the pan for dear life. So, I filled the sink with warm water, carefully placed my pan inside, and crossed my fingers. While I waited, I imagined all the cakes in the world that had been freed using this method. Surely mine would be next, right? Sounded promising, so I did exactly that. I let it sit, tried again, still nothing. I ran a knife around the edges, whispered words of encouragement, maybe even threatened it a little. I half expected the cake to whisper back, "Nice try, but I live here now." After multiple attempts, and maybe some mild bargaining with the universe, the cake finally came out. But let's just say, it wasn't the masterpiece I had envisioned. It looked like it had been through a rough breakup. Pieces were stuck to the pan, the edges were all jagged, and it was definitely not party ready. With just a couple of hours left before I had to leave, I had two choices: show up with a bundt cake that looked like a failed art project, or try again. So I did what any stubborn baker would do. I baked another one. This time I went back to my trusty greasing method, which you can learn about in my other video. No experiments, no YouTube hacks, just what I know works. And guess what? The second cake came out perfect, smooth, intact, and totally worthy of a dessert table. Victory never tasted so sweet. If you're on the hunt for the perfect bundt cake for a special occasion or holiday, I've got you covered. I have a blog post filled with amazing bundt cake ideas, from classic flavors to unique twists. Plus, I've highlighted some of my absolute favorites in there, so be sure to check it out. Did you know that bundt cakes actually have a pretty cool history? They may seem like a classic American dessert, but their roots go way back to Europe, specifically Germany and Austria. There, people made a type of cake called Gugelhupf, which was a yeasted, fruit-studded cake baked in a decorative, ring-shaped pan. It was super popular, especially for special occasions. Fast forward to the 1950s, when a group of Jewish women from Minnesota wanted to recreate the traditional Gugelhupf from their homeland. They reached out to a company called Nordic Ware and asked them to design a similar pan. The company tweaked the design, using aluminum and adding those signature ridges, and boom, the Bundt pan was born. At first, bundt cakes weren't all that popular, but everything changed in the 1960s when a recipe called the Tunnel of Fudge cake won second place in a Pillsbury baking contest. People went crazy for it, and suddenly everyone wanted a bundt pan. Sales skyrocketed, and the bundt cake became a staple in American kitchens. What makes bundt cakes so fun is that they're more about the shape than a specific recipe. You can make them in all sorts of flavors: chocolate, lemon, pumpkin spice, red velvet, like the one I just made. You name it. The pan does all the work in making them look fancy, so even a simple recipe turns out stunning. So next time you bake a bundt cake, just remember, it's not just a delicious dessert, it's a little piece of history shaped to perfection. Moral of the story: not every baking hack you see online is a winner. Some work, some not so much. But hey, that's part of the fun. If one fails, bake another. And if you're wondering how to grease a bundt pan properly, I've got a whole video breaking it down for you. I've baked so many bundt cakes over the years, and I'm always looking for new ways to improve. Sometimes things go south, but that's just baking. A little drama keeps things interesting, right? And at the end of the day, even a bundt cake fail still tastes pretty darn good, especially when you drown it in whipped cream. Check out the links in the description for my go-to bundt cake tricks: how to keep them moist, how to package them beautifully, and most importantly, how to avoid this disaster. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've ever had a baking disaster, let me know in the comments so I don't feel alone in my struggle. And don't forget, sometimes the best baking lessons come from the biggest fails. Now let's make a good bundt cake, lemon bundt cake, in my next video.